in the last segment, I did intro the idea of HB 5471, House Bill 5471. As we've heard about it a lot recently, it is the Democrats and J.B. Pritzker coming after our Second Amendment. The Illinois assault weapons ban is over 100 pages of crap to essentially do this. It says beginning January 1st, 2024, it is unlawful for any person within the state to knowingly possess an assault weapon attachment, 50 caliber rifle or 50 caliber cartridge with exemptions, and provides penalties. Provides that it is unlawful for any person within the state to knowingly manufacture, deliver, sell, purchase, or cause to be manufactured, deliver, sold, or purchase a large capacity of ammunition, feeding device with specified exemptions, and provides penalties. So basically, you can't own like half of the guns in this state is basically what it reads as. Here, I have the attorney that is leading the charge against J.B. Pritzker, former attorney general candidate in Illinois, and the first lawyer to secure a win against J.B.'s gun ban in state court, Tom DeVore. Tom, how you doing?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I know we were talking a little bit during the break about what this bill means and a few other issues, but I want to kind of just break down the stages of this bill, where we're at now, where it's going forward. So you told me over on the live stream about where it originated. Can you speak to that a little bit more, and then how you got into filing this lawsuit?
Sure. Well, this bill, as it originated, it started off in early 2022 as a modification to the insurance code. It was very innocuous. It was about 2 paragraphs long, had to do with providing your email as an insurance adjuster under certain circumstances. And from the time that bill was introduced until it was actually signed into law by J.B. Pritzker on January 10th, 2023, it was 347 days. For 345 days until Sunday afternoon on the 8th of January 2023, it was this insurance bill. And then Senator Harmon, President of the Senate, Democrat Harmon, gut and replaced that bill and turned it into the gun ban from the insurance change. And about 2 days later, Governor Pritzker signed it. It's called their gut and replace. That is one of the things we're attacking in the courts, as well as the gun bill itself on how they pass laws. But yeah, that's how it originated. Again, it was 2 days before they signed it. They snuck it in and waited till people go to church and do it. That's how the Democrats do things.
And they do it over the weekend. Sometimes they do it in the middle of the night. They make it so that your ability to contact your representative, to peacefully assemble, to even just have your voice heard as a member of the public on these things is pushed down. It's not necessarily, they do it in a way that's so on the line of being illegal, but it's not, just because technically.
It is illegal.
Really?
There's no doubt.
Okay.
It's
Tell
100%
me exactly.
illegal.
Yeah. And then how do they get away with it? Why is nobody filing? I want to get more into your lawsuit against this bill specifically, but why does nobody file a lawsuit against that kind of behavior then?
I did file the lawsuit against that kind of behavior. Yeah. One of the main issues in our gun case is this issue. And that's why I was so upset with Dan Calkins, because when Dan intervened in it the way that he did, it's causing us complications to take on this big issue that you and I are talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
But the only court that can put an end to it is the Illinois Supreme Court. The lower courts cannot stop this game that you just mentioned. The Illinois Supreme Court can stop it. We've got a 5-2 Democratic court. So are they going to stop it? I don't know, but only they can stop it. But it is absolutely illegal. They just have to put an end to it.
They say, absolutely. And so then we get to today. So obviously there was the whole, I did hear about the Dan Calkins versus yours. It seems like your lawsuit is the one that's holding up. And so according to many news sources, but I pulled up an article here from the Daily Wire yesterday. I think it happened on Friday, but a federal judge blocks Illinois assault weapons ban. So a federal judge in Illinois has blocked the state's assault weapons ban from taking effect. Stephen P. McGlynn, the judge of the Southern District of Illinois, issued a preliminary injunction against the Protect Illinois Communities Act Friday, blocking it while a lawsuit proceeds. McGlynn ruled that the law likely violates the Second Amendment and the Supreme Court precedents set by Heller and Bruin cases. There's a lot more in the article, but here's what I want to explain. I want you to help explain to the public first, because obviously many of us don't know a lot of legal jargon. What is meant by a preliminary injunction against this bill?
That preliminary injunction means that during the pendency of this case, while it's proceeding to the end, which how long that might take, we don't know at this point, it means that the state of Illinois cannot enforce that gun law against any of its citizens statewide. It means the law is put on hold and people can go about their business as it was on January 9th before the governor signed the law. That's what the injunction means.
Got it. Got it. So great win so far, but it's a battle, not the war. We still have a lot further to go. So what besides this in and of itself, this injunction, at what stage are we at with the case? When will, I don't know exactly how these kinds of cases play out. I know you said it'll likely go to the Illinois Supreme Court. At what stage are we at? When can we expect actually rulings on this?
Well, now let's not conflate for the people that are listening to your show. The case that got the injunction on Friday, that is the federal case, and it has its own path, which is completely separate from the state court cases that ours. But the federal case, I think what people are paying attention to right now, the way that will work is once Judge McGlynn issued that injunction, the state of Illinois is going to ask the Judge McGlynn, to put his injunction on hold, which means leave the law in effect while the appeal is pending to the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals. Judge McGlynn likely won't grant that, which means that the government will then ask the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals and the federal court to enjoin that injunction and to put it on hold. And how they might rule, we don't know. That'll take a week or two.
Okay. So that makes sense. So then you also say that, so your case is the one that's likely going to go before the Illinois Supreme Court, you say?
Well, Calkins took his case, which is only half the case. It's just the gun case.
It doesn't include the procedure issue.
You're right.
Yep.
He gave that up, which is a huge issue, because I was guaranteed to get to argue that thing in front of the Illinois Supreme Court. Now, depending on what happens in the Calkins matter, I may not get to argue that bigger issue on how laws are passed. So if we come out of the Calkins matter which is in front of the Supreme Court right now, and win on the gun case, is that a win? Certainly it's a win. We could have won that argument anyway, but what was going to be given up is the procedural issues, and then the state's going to try to come back into my case, which is still proceeding, and try to stop us from furthering those procedural issues. Because I assure you, the government in Illinois is more worried about the procedural arguments than the gun issue. They'll lose the gun issue all day long if they can preserve their ability to continue to pass laws the way that they've been passing them. That's why I was so frustrated with Dan, not because he wanted to file his own lawsuit. I don't care. But you gave up the biggest issue. You got guys like Mr. Calkins and the other men in the Eastern Bloc of the Illinois General Assembly arguing about how unethical and unconstitutional the way they pass laws in Springfield is. And here was a perfect opportunity to do something about it, and walked away from it. That's why I was frustrated.
Gotcha. That makes a lot more sense. So assuming, like you say, that it's going to go to the Illinois Supreme Court, do you believe that this case, and I do honestly, but I do have some worry. Do you believe that this case is a slam dunk, considering the fact that I believe it's like 2 judges on our Illinois Supreme Court, if not more, are basically in the pocket of J.B. Pritzker? Do you think that could make it so that our Second Amendment rights are limited simply because of money?
Well, I have to be careful with how I answer that question, because I'm a licensed attorney, and so my political opinion of justices, whether they're at the circuit court, appellate court, or the Supreme Court, are mine to keep. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the Second Amendment rights of people of Illinois will be protected in the federal court, right? They will be protected in the federal court. We'll win that one, even if we got to go to the U.S. Supreme Court, in my opinion. Here in Illinois, in the Illinois courts, I would really like to see the Illinois Supreme Court put an end to this law, either on the equal protection, which I've raised, and again, won the argument on equal protection that now Calkins is using in bootstrapping his case. I hope Dan wins that argument in front of the Supreme Court. But I would have really liked to see the Supreme Court take the issue on of saying, you're not going to pass laws this way anymore. I mean, the Democrats are in the super majority. They can pass any law they want if they think it's good public policy. Quit cheating and quit violating the Constitution on how you pass laws. That's all I'm saying.
So that absolutely, I can totally understand where that frustration comes in. Finally, on the issue of guns, we are coming up a little bit to the break here, but why do you think that the Illinois Democrats even had the gall to pass legislation like this? It seems so overtly against the Second Amendment.
Why do I think it happened?
Yep.
You want my opinion?
Yep, I want your opinion.
Because J.B. Pritzker is trying to build his national brand for his run for president, and he wants to be known as a gun control type of Democrat because he thinks that's the brand that he needs to compete on the national stage. So J.B. Pritzker used his immense influence because of his resources. He controls the Illinois General Assembly and the Attorney General's office. They are like puppets to Governor Pritzker because of his money. They do whatever he wants. He wanted that law passed, even if he knew there was a good chance it gets unwound, at least in the federal system. He didn't see me coming in the state court system. But he's doing that to build his brand and to say that, look, this is what I stand for. That's why this law was passed. There's no other reason, in my opinion.